Peace, y'all. Peace, 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 peace. What's good? What's going on, everybody? It is the Joey Digital. Just want to say what is up, see what is good with the collective. Just want to holler at you all real fast and show some love in the moment. A little bit too loud, you know what I mean. Just want to show y'all some love real fast for checking out the previous live that I just put on. And I just want to let y'all know real fast, real quick before I get this reading started, that you all are greatly appreciated. You all are greatly loved. I cherish you all. Thank you so much for your continued support. And I'm just in a really good mood in this moment. A little bit tired. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Had a big day today, you know what I mean? And it's all good. But I just wanted to, oh, we waving. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on real fast just to check in with y'all real fast. Just to let y'all know that this is your season of, really your whole life is your season. Really, let's just be honest. You know, it's your time for growth, transformation, abundance, blessings, you know, all of that good stuff, you know what I mean? And usually I do my readings with my cards. Like, you know, tonight I felt compelled to just work with just my crystals instead, you know what I mean? Just to kind of diversify it a little bit, just to kind of switch it up. You know, right now I'm working with my Libyan desert glass. I have my Malachite going. I have my Super 7. And of course, as y'all can see, I got my Moldavite. My Master Healer crystal. Also the clear quartz crystal. I have the rose quartz. And I have my selenite. You know, just to keep the space, the aura super clean, super clear. Nothing less but the best of ascension and breakthroughs, especially with your third eye and crown chakras, as you all can see. Yeah, but I just wanted to let you know that this time that we're in right now, especially with the Mercury retrograde that is happened and is still happening. I just want to let you know, maybe some of you have experienced a shift in energies, not in your energy, because I already know y'all keep y'all energy super positive, especially over here. Just the collective has been seeing other people have shifts in energy, other places have shifts in energy, and I just want to let you know that if you have been going through anything that seems like, how do I want to put this? All right, there's a lot of confusion, not with us. Again, not with us. We got this. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of confusion with things going on, whether it's in the matrix, at the workplace. Same difference, you know what I mean? I don't know, man, you might have experienced like a sudden surge of negativity or outbursts, or just seeing people getting laid off, or let go, or people quitting jobs, or, you know, like, there's, you know, I just want to let you know, like, because you have ascended and you are in your ascension, you are definitely not affected by a lot of the changes, because you have been doing the inner work. You have been healing. You are whole again. You are feeling blessed, looking blessed. Look at us, you know what I mean? We looking blessed, feeling blessed, and we are acting. I wouldn't even say acting. We are blessed, you know, just because we have shifted our frequency into a positive frequency, and it stayed like that for so long. The universe had to meet us there, and you know, push us through our journey with the other end, with the other half of the positivity that it has been putting through, you know, because we're putting through the positivity, the universe puts through the positivity, because it's a vibrational match of frequency. And you know, I just wanted to say, you know, that if you've been noticing sudden shifts and you haven't been moved, it's because you're no longer operating in a fear frequency or a fear or a lack mindset or anything that is super low vibrational or mundane. You know, like, you have definitely ascended, you have definitely integrated your shadow self with your light self. And as I said earlier in the message, you are whole, you know, and as you should be, you know, we all should be, you know, in our own way, for our own ways, because on this journey we all have things that we aspire to reach, and in our own individual journeys, even though, you know, we're all on the same path, but we all have different journeys, you know what I mean? Hit that like button. And it's just one of those phases, you know, like, I haven't seen it like this in a long time. I think the last time I might have seen the energy like this was around was it 2018, 2019, you know, when they had the big global thing. You know, I don't know if YouTube's gonna, you know, throw the flag up, but, you know, it's been like, you know, it's like a whole thing where, yeah, on one side of the spectrum, people are being told what time it is, and then on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who know what time it is. You know what I mean? And the people who know. You know, you don't need to be told what the time is. When you wake up, you know what time it is. You know, or when you know, wake from your slumber, or to start your day, or you know, even if it's from a nap, or even if it's in the beginning of your morning, you know, in your grand rising setting, you are locked in. And when you're on your side of the spectrum, you see what happens on the other side of the spectrum. And, you know, we've been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, you know what I mean? And we definitely not going back into that fear mindset, low vibrational frequency, panic mode, fight or flight. You know, and I do apologize sincerely if I'm triggering anybody. I apologize. I'm just saying, pretty much generally, that you are healed, you know, like, you're healed and you're ready for the next part of your journey. And even in my previous video where I was saying that, you know, a lot of us have become the observer, and we become the observer because we understand how much of an energy drain things can become once you attach yourself to situations or circumstances. And a lot of times, of course, you can't help it, but when you're really conscious of what is happening, you realize that it goes even higher than taking your power, calling your power back. Because when you are operating in the power, you are working with, like, supreme power, like your power. When you're dealing with the all, when you're dealing with, you know, your creator, the universe, God, you know, whatever it is you resonate with, when you're in that energy, you don't even have to call your power back, because you're just in the power. You are, like, not even only just protected, you're just in a different frequency. You know, you're not even a vibrational match to anything negative. You're not even a vibrational match to any kind of turmoil or anguish or anger or anything that you feel in the past that could have took you out of your zone. You know, like, you're in a different zone. And, you know, a lot of us are resting, a lot of us are getting busy and working on our dreams, working on our goals. And I just felt called to hop on here because, you know, I've been noticing some things lately, like these past couple of days, and I know, see, listen, like in how I used to see it, especially like when I was, coming up, my mom, she would say, if anything bad happens before you make a decision, just wait 3 days, wait 2 or 3 days before you make a decision to see if it affects you or not. And I love that she used to say that to me as a kid, you know what I mean? Because it kind of takes away the idea that you have to hurry up and make a decision because of lack or disrespect or pressure, like that was she was real big on, get away from the peer pressure, like she helped me really just observe, especially like as a teenager, when I was a teenager, I used to, you felt like you had to handle everything because you were getting to that age where they were kind of like loosening the apron strings, if I may say so. Like they would let you do your thing a little bit, and they weren't, double parenting over top of you. You know what I mean? They would just kind of like let you live a little bit, and then they would kind of here and there they would say, hey, don't do this or don't do that. But they, for the most part, they would just let you live, And so, but she used to always tell me that, just kind of, wait 2 or 3 days, and if it's really important, then you can make a decision, And then also too, I'll combine that with something that I always say is whenever something happens that is triggering, or like if somebody yells at you, or if it's like a drama situation, what I usually say is that usually if it's a big blow up drama situation, and I'm sorry if I'm triggering y'all, I apologize, hit that like button. If it's a big drama or a big situation that and it seemed like it waited until you got there, that usually means that there's a big blessing coming on it's on the come up. And it'll be there really fast. And a lot of times it'll be there that same day. If not, in 3 days, it'll be there. And that's something that I live by, because I've noticed, when you are constantly ascending and you are constantly in situations where it looks like you can't get out of it, and you get out of it over and over and over again, and people wonder, like, how is this person getting out of this situation and stuff? A lot of times people will come to you because they're like, oh no, we want to see if this is foolproof or is this an act. And that's usually why people will approach situations, and they may test your mind, or some people may just want to know what's going on, like how do you do this or how do you do that, and use your discernment. Some stuff is worth sharing. A lot of stuff is worth sharing. Some things are worth keeping to yourself too. You know what I mean? But like as I said a few minutes ago, just use your discernment. And because people always want to know if what you're doing, if it's working for you, but can it break before they take it in too? Like before they take in the skill set too. Because if it looks like it's working, but then they approach you and then you fold, then they're like, that's just an act. But if you don't fold ever, and you are constantly in situation after situation where you're like, you don't know how you're gonna get out of this, or it's a struggle, or it's this and that, but you keep making it out of it in the nick of time, then they'll be like, oh well, let me try that, what Joey Digital is doing. You know what I mean? They're like, let me try that because that's working. Not that, now I'm not saying that people are going to put themselves in situations where it's like, you're going to struggle or nothing, but it's just, in layman's terms, they call it resilience. You know what I mean? They call it's like being resilient, like just being able to just shine in all different facets, just like a diamond, by the way, which is the strongest crystal on earth. It's not the first crystal, but it's the strongest crystal. It's we're the first crystal, Hit that like button. Yeah, I mean, for those who know, you know what I mean? Because we shine, you know what I mean? But you know, when you're resilient, you can make it, you know, and it's not that you put yourself in situations. It's just that, like, as I was saying in the beginning of the video, you know, the Mercury retrograde, it has the energy kind of, you know, wavy, you know, not wavy like in a good way, but wavy kind of like, you know, but we are so used to transmuting negative energy and making it positive. We take positive energy and make it more positive. We take negative energy and make it more positive. You know, we can work with negative energy, positive energy, but we're constantly transmuting. We're constantly taking situations and finding the good from it and extracting the good from it. And if it's negative, we don't focus on it. You know, we send it back into the universe and let the universe transmute that and turn that into positive energy, and then we call that energy back to us as well. You know, shout out to my people who say they're gonna call their energy back, you know, 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something. And it's something that happened. It might have only took like 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 8 minutes, and then but you carried it for 20 years, you know. And it's just like, nah, like, that's why we say we call our energy back, you know. And it's not to be mean to people or anything, or to remember something that made us feel low. It's just that we need that energy so that way we can continue to build our lives. And as I always talk, you know, about, I always reference Nikola Tesla, you know, and he always would say, you know, the measure of the, what would he say? Energy is measured in, life is measured in energy, frequency, and vibration, or something like that. And, you know, energy can never be killed nor destroyed. It can only be transferred, you know. So, you know, even if you have been carrying something for 10 years, 15 years, you know, it's energy that is still 1000% strong, and you need it back. You know, you learned your lesson. You learned what you needed to learn from it. You figured out what you needed to figure out from it. You might have gained some friends. You might have lost some friends. You might have gained some family. You might have lost some family. But at the end of the day, or the beginning of the day, whichever time of day you decide to call your energy back, you need it. Because you got things to work on. You got things that you want to achieve still. You know, it's like that song. I forget who sung that song. I think it was who did that rap. I think it was Common. He said he made a song about, he was telling a story about a woman, and he said something like, regardless of whatever she's been through, she still wants to see California. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, regardless, people go through a lot of things, but you still want to get to the, you know, get to that place where you can say, I've been, you know, not necessarily to the promised land, but like to the place where I see myself going. For some people it could be Hawaii, for some people it could be Florida, for some people it could be New York, for some people it could be Chicago, you know, wherever. It could be Denmark, Norway, you know, Ireland, India, you know what I mean? It could be Korea, Philippines, anywhere in Asia, Russia. It could be, you know what I mean? It could be a lot of different places where people always imagine, you know, when I get my money right, or when I get my mind right, or when I get my situation right, or when I get my, you know. And, you know, of course we're always grateful, you know, even if we do never really make it there, we're always still grateful, and we always still thank the Most High. It's just an idea to keep us pushed in that direction of self-betterment. And it's a goal. It's a goal. It's a finish line. You know, it's a, you know, when you cross the tape. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, in the event if X, Y, and Z happens, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Greenland, or I'm gonna go to Canada. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna go to Alaska, or I'm gonna go to, you know, Puerto Rico, you know what I mean? Shout out to all those places. I'm gonna go to Caribbean, you know, South America, you know what I mean? To the rainforest. For those who know, you know what I mean? That's one of my things right there too, by the way. I always see people I always see people going on retreats to the rainforest in South America. That's one of those things I always wanted to go. People that go down there, they know why they want to go. I want to see what's going on down there. Especially, what I'm talking about is my spiritual journey. I'm not talking about anything wild. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm on this journey now, and I believe in it because it's working. Like, there's times where, as I've been saying, I just said it in my last video, like, it's things that could have destroyed me, but it didn't. Because I've been able to work with all different kinds of energy, and I've been able to see the good in all of it, and I've been able to stay poised, and I've been able to stay grounded and not let something knock me off the hinges just because a situation or a person or a place said enough is enough, and now it's time for me to go through some turmoil, and I say no. I'm not going through anything. So anyways, this is a message about, all my people who stay strong through the retrograde. And, whether you rocking your crystals or you're not rocking your crystals, it's not for everybody. Everybody has their own thing. Everyone has their own way on how they transmute energy and make it positive so that they can see the blessings in everything that is happening in their day-to-day lives. You know what I mean? And we're in a space right now where, pretty much what my point is like, we're not going back to worrying about stuff anymore. We're not going back to sadness anymore.